Hello and welcome to another episode of Wednesday Night Undressed. I am Lou, your host, and I am joined by the motliest of crews. I've got Chris, I've got
Hello.
Fernando, I've got Julian, I've got Parker, I've got Andrei, I've got Lauran, I've got Anthony, and
Oh, good God.
the man of the hour, the Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour, made of solid steel and sex appeal, makes the women cry and the men, oh no, I got that backwards, makes the men all cry and the women squeal, one Mr. Ivo, even
The pleasure is all yours.
Oh, how's everybody doing?
God.
Great.
It's
Okay.
been a while, I feel like. So,
Yeah.
and today is hump day. So, I feel like everybody's just kind of like, I guess I'll come to the
I'm feeling like a drunk pack of cigarettes, all right.
Right?
Wow,
right?
man, that's
True
sounds
to
like
that.
a dream.
It's gone off the rails already.
Right?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to throw a couple of audibles because there's a couple things I want to talk about. First one being you, Mr. Ivanov. Tell these fine folks what you did this weekend.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So I ended up, that would be of particular interest to Chris. I ended up staying overnight in Atlas ICBM missile silo just outside of Salina. Well, maybe 45 miles west of Salina, close to Wilson, Lake Wilson. And it was like a surreal experience, truly amazing. The Atlas, of course, was the very first American ICBM. It was decommissioned in the 60s. The silo was of strategic importance. And this was really, for me, it was kind of interesting because I grew up on the other side of the Iron Curtain. And the Atlas missiles were something that we were taught to be afraid of. And I grew up in constant paranoia, just like Chris probably did. And
Oh, yeah.
People of our generation.
Weirdly, yes.
Fernando, you're younger.
Yeah, no,
but,
freaking
yeah.
like in Brazil.
Really?
Yeah, crazy, right?
So, yeah.
The media, what the hell the media
Yeah.
did also.
Whatever
back
happened
in the day.
between the U.S. and Russia was going to affect Brazil. I mean, the whole planet was not going to be spared.
Yeah,
if-
It would be
it
the end
popped
of
off.
the world. In 1983, a movie was made for TV by ABC called The Day After.
The day after.
And that was broadcast simultaneously here in the United States and in the countries of the Soviet bloc. I don't know about Brazil.
He got to.
Really?
Yep.
So it was a warning. This movie's entire purpose was to warn the entire world of what the actual consequences are going to be. And I was watching it. I was a teenager. And I was watching it behind the Iron Curtain, completely petrified. Even though it was low budget, it did depict quite accurately the fallout from the nuclear weapon, the radiation, the shockwave, the consequences of what was going to happen if Third World War ensues. And we were really, really scared watching this movie. It was effective. With the low production value and everything, it was effective. And it had good actors, John Lithgow,
Jason
Robards was in it, the great Steve Guttenberg, Academy Award material.
Right,
And no, it was really scary. It did its job, this movie. And I watched it and I was a little perplexed that it was taking part mostly in a small college town in the middle of America. And destiny has a weird way of toying with you, because I ended up spending most of my life in that very same little college town.
Which town was
I
Thibaut?
think it was called Lawrence,
Yeah,
in,
it was-
in the state of bizarre, obscure state of Kansas.
Right.
But in the movie, the ICBMs were launched from Kansas, close to Lawrence in Kansas City, and this is because there were a lot of silos in our area, and they were positioned here because we were in the middle of the country here, and it took a long time for the enemy's missiles to travel to here, and there was a little bit more time to launch. So when I got the opportunity to go and stay overnight in a missile silo, I jumped on it, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I got to see the actual silo, which is 20 stories deep. It's a skyscraper, vertical skyscraper underground. I got to the mission control, where the Rocketeers were stationed and lived in a concrete reinforced stunning facility that cost $200 million to build. It was purchased by an amazing dude named Matthew for $40,000.
Matthew McConaughey?
It's not Matthew McConaughey. It's Matthew, just Matthew. But he spent less money than my car costs to buy this $200 million facility. And it was surreal, shocking, and at the same time awe-inspiring. The technology that it took to build it, the thought that went into it, the idea that people were living there underground, the escape routes that they had, the way it was constructed to protect the crew that was stationed inside. It was you go through tunnels, and they turn 90 degrees for a reason. Once, twice, 3 times, those concrete tunnels, because the shockwave loses 10% of its power every time it has to make a turn. So by the time it gets to the double insane doors that I can't even describe, it's lost a lot of power, the shockwave. And then everything else, you go through another tunnel to go to the silo, and some of it is full with water that he needs to pump out so he can achieve his dream, really. This guy wants to turn it into a facility that would train future astronauts for missions on Mars and living on another planet. And it takes investment, but the Airbnb that he constructed there underground is off the charts.
How much did you pay?
I paid about $300, but it was for 4 people. 4 people go in. There's 2 amazing rooms, very modern, spectacular, like really, really modern, amazing Wi-Fi, giant screens like for TV, and a bar, kitchen, everything, amazing shower, bathroom, and everything you need.
Very worth it.
And yeah, and then what I've discovered sleeping there was disorienting. You don't want to wake up because there's no light leaking into it and no sound, so you feel so insulated from the outside world. It's really conducive to good sleep, to tell you the truth. And he had long curtains in the bedroom that I moved to see just concrete because
just for fun.
yeah. So, but he create the impression that there's windows. Otherwise, it's kind of depressing. And then he had a fake window in the bar area, where there was light illuminating the window like there is light outside. He told me that he was looking at those fake LED windows that they put on cruise ships, on interior cabins on cruise ships, that emulate what's happening outside. But he said at this point they cost $7,000, and he just doesn't have the investment to do that. But that's something to do when he actually creates the full-blown facility there. He said that he has worked on another missile silo with a partner of his who developed it into a survivalist micro community, where he sold each floor for $3 million to billionaires to be their 4th or 5th home. And this guy, he made not a survival pods per se, but he wants to create a micro community with K-12 school there for their kids. If apocalypse happens,
We should.
with medical, like with a hospital on the top floor, security. He's created, that guy that created this, he's created incredible gyms entertainment centers, movie theater underneath. That's 19 floors. So you can imagine he's got
Wow.
everything. There's a
19
shooting
floors.
range, 19 floors. So this guy Matthew, he doesn't want to recreate this. He wants to do something else. He wants it to be more of an educational center. So he gave us an amazing tour. I found it weirdly poetic, looking at the giant, basically launching pad that has this, what do you call it, like doors. They're supposed to open to let the missile out. It's not a hatch. It's enormous. I mean, this missile
Gonna be
was
huge, yeah. And a lot of like layers to hold the heat.
Yeah, I mean, this missile was 112 tons, single missile. The warhead itself was like over 2 tons, 4 megatons, 100 times the power of Hiroshima nuclear bomb. So this was an enormous thing, but it was really interesting, and I mentioned poetic, was this tree, this gorgeous tree that grew over this hatch. And this just beautiful, beautiful tree that after 50 years, it just took over and grew over and was leaning over the hatch, covering it with beautiful green leaves. And I was thinking, man, nature just wins. Against our worst intentions, it's just nature takes over. And I told him, I said, hey, you look at like the vegetation here and how it just wants it to take it back its territory. And he's like, it's constant struggle against nature and keeping this place the way I want it and achieving my dream. It's like you have to fight against the most powerful force of all, nature. And the other very powerful message I got there, this place is surrounded by wind turbines because it's high wind territory and it's a source of clean, renewable energy. And there's also oil pumps. Jamie took a beautiful picture. My wife, Jamie, took a beautiful picture of an oil pump on the forefront and a wind turbine in the back. And it was like past, I said, it's like past meets the future. And my son said, well, but what's the past? Because the windmills were here long before the wind.
Right.
So, yeah, it was a great trip. It's worth going there. It's by a town called Wilson, just 2 miles off I-70. Wilson is a revelation. I had no idea the topography in Kansas can be so interesting. My goodness, yeah.
There's also a missile silo north of Holton, which I also may or may not know how to get into because my friends and I used to break in there a lot. It's now owned by AT&T, so I mean, it's a lot safer than when I was doing it as a teenager.
Oh, God, yeah. It can be dangerous. There's water in it. I asked one question to the owner of this place as he was showing us the silo. I asked him, are we going to come out of here a little more radiant? And and he just laughed and said, no, the missiles were designed in a way that there was no radiation leak whatsoever, 0%. And the crew was extremely, extremely safe. Plus, they had a company that came afterwards and measured radiation in the soil everywhere, and there was nothing. So it's secure and it's clean. But Wilson, this place is in Wilson. On the other side of the highway is a town called Lucas, which has the Garden of Eden.
The hippie.
And it's the art center of Kansas. It's insane. It's 400 people live in this town. I believe they're all insane. All 400 are insane. You need to see the main street to understand what there's bizarre art made out of trash everywhere. And the public toilet is a sight to behold.
Yep.
Claimed to be the greatest public toilet in the world. So, yeah, it's something else. So it's worth going. The lake is stunning.
Don't forget about the dead guy at the Garden of Eden.
The Garden of Eden, that's another story. My
Western
goodness.
Kansas is fucking weird, man.
The Garden of Eden.
There's the world's largest squirrel a little bit further on.
Yes.
There's a giant Van Gogh painting, too.
The Garden of Eden was created by a guy who's clearly nuts.
Yeah.
He participated in the Civil War on the side of the North, and after the Civil War, he built this mansion out of concrete, made it look like a log home made out of concrete, He had his own recipe for concrete that he kept secret, took it to his grave. And when I say took it to his grave, it's not a conventional grave. This guy decided to mummify himself, bury himself in a glass coffin, and stay on the premises of his house in a little bizarre pyramid where you can go and see him. And we went and saw his mummified corpse, which was very, very disturbing and macabre, but absolutely in line with this guy's life. When you go there and learn about his life, you understand that there was no other way for him to go but get himself mummified in a glass fucking coffin. So, Lucas, worth visiting. The lake is the cleanest water in Kansas. It's clean, pristine, beautiful lake with cliffs and freaking bizarre like mountain type. It's just amazing. Great biking trail, amazing rock formations, stunning place, spectacular freaking brewery, microbrewery in a town called Sylvan Grove.
Hold on a second. Microbrewery, we gotta go there.
Yes, and it's a mind-blowing restaurant with incredible food and spectacular beer and a mixologist owner. His name is also Lucas, who is originally from this area, from Lenexa, and just has done an amazing job, makes the most incredible horse feather. Just spectacular place, middle of nowhere. Lots of I met hundreds wonderful people. None of them spoke redneck. I was amazed.
How?
I mean, none of them spoke redneck. I was fully prepared to speak redneck. Yeah, and it was very surprising. It was a great area. The missile silo was amazing. I took over 50% of the podcast. I apologize.
No apology necessary.
No.
Great experience, though.
I was just wondering if it was the missile silo that the guy was making LSD in years ago. Because I think that one's just west of Hutchinson, if I remember right.
That's good stuff.
This is not, I don't think that's the same one, because this guy took over straight from the government for this $40,000. He said something that was also kind of meaningful. The Atlas missiles were used as nuclear carriers, nuclear warhead carriers, right? But when they were decommissioned, they were reused to take satellites into space, and are still used. That technology is still used to take astronauts to space. And how poetic is that? That once they carried death and destruction, and now they carry humanity on a mission to expand humanity to another world. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm curious because one of the things that I'm always overwhelmed by, like with a sense of tininess, is like when I'm going through a tunnel that's been drilled through a mountain. And so I'm trying to like capture, like in my mind's eye, like how big this silo opening is. Like, do you actually get to see into the silo?
Yeah, so the opening is, so there's a steel structure, and right next, it's steel structure, it's a gateway. I don't know if I can describe it because it's not shaped like any letter of the alphabet. But then there's a door, a conventional door with a digital lock. And once you open that metal door, there's a steep staircase going, I want to say about 90 feet underground, straight down. And when you reach the bottom of that staircase, the tunnels start and they twist. They make right turn, left turn, right turn, left turn. Then there's an entrapment door, which our military guy here can probably describe. But the entrapment door is basically, you open a door, you push a button, and you are let through. And then there's a second door. And then you have to speak a parole. You're asked, you push another button, and you're asked to say the parole. If you say the correct parole, the second door will open. If you don't, the door behind you closes, and you're entrapped. Nice. So that's what's called the entrapment door until military police comes and takes you. Yes.
So yeah, we had something like that called code words when you're like hiking, but or I guess technically out on patrol, and you're coming back. You can't see in the dark, so you hear noise, and so you have call and response. We kind of got in trouble because ours at one point was dip skull and mine coal. So we would yell, because a lot of people use chew in my unit, so they, they're also Marines, so you got to keep it the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, say something that it can be understood with chew in your mouth. Then we go downstairs. You start going downstairs on a spiral metallic staircase until you get to the living quarters of the Rocketeers. And the living quarters are circular. It's circular space. It's large. Underneath is the command center, one more level underneath. From the command center, there's a tunnel, a steel tunnel that goes towards the missile silo. The steel tunnel also has double doors, which are there to protect the crew when the Atlas is launched and the blast creates enormous shockwave and heat wave. So you have to go through these doors, these double doors, through a 30-foot tunnel. All of it is concrete, and it's the thickest concrete anywhere. And it's
Did they get that
reinforced.
from the guy in Lucas? Did they get that concrete from the guy in Lucas?
I don't have concrete evidence, but it's possible. But then the place he told us that the concrete work that they did was unique because they poured concrete in one single pour, which was unheard of.
Right.
And it's feet and feet thick. I mean, it's meant to withstand a direct nuclear hit. So, and the living quarters and the mission center are built to wobble. So when there's a shockwave, massive shockwave outside, it's built. The platforms wobble. So there's an escape hatch that blew my mind. If you get so much debris that you can't get out, there's a vertical escape hatch that is filled with sand.
Wow.
To minimize heat and shockwave. And you just, from the living quarters of the Rocketeers, you just go to the ceiling, reach for the ceiling, and open the hatch. And all of this sand, cubic feet, like tons of sand, just comes out. And then you climb on a staircase vertically up to get out of there. But just eye-opening place and really incredible.
Yeah, so now, Chris, you grew up in that area. Like, have you been to one of these silos
He
before?
built that.
No, I've not been to any of these silos.
Gotcha.
When the closest I got was I grew up in Manhattan, so it's still a bit of ways from where these are.
From where the silos are.
Yeah, but
Gotcha.
it's very similar territory, though, wise in terms of lots of hills and valleys and lots of fun places to play. Growing up in Manhattan.
Yeah, there's a lot of silos around Topeka, which makes me think, how do you know if you're in Topeka or in a silo? If you're growing up
Right.
You can definitely tell that there's a silo north of Holton because it is farmland, and then why is there that random hill there? Makes absolutely no sense.
Right.
And
So
then-
were you
and
able
then
to
the
go in
gigantic-
there?
Yeah, because they have a small metal door, like any other door. It's got a handle with a lock on it, but then they have a gigantic glass door on the front. So it's like, try to get through that or lock pick this $5 handle.
Right.
And we're inside. That's crazy.
Nice.
You said both colors to take care of that. Why lockpick?
All right, thank you, Ivo. The other audible that I'm going to call, because it's not one of the questions on here, is my son told me something about this new music today.
Can we actually can we delay this till
Delay it?
yeah,
Postpone?
for just a little bit.
Okay.
Fernando was questioning me on this. He's be here for this.
Oh, well, Fernando's coming back right now.
Okay. They asked about Panic Jazz, so I figured I'd wait for you.
Panic Jazz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's Panic Jazz?
So, so you know how like jazz, how a lot of times the drums is very like intense.
Mm-hmm.
Panic Jazz is basically that, but also everything else. So like when I think of jazz, I think of rather like slow and like kind of like thoughtful sounding, like piano and like cello, like trumpets, whatever. Yeah. But with Panic Jazz, they're all like a lot like more intense and like faster and stuff.
Interesting.
So have you ever heard of bebop before?
No.
Yeah. So what was the
that's fast jazz?
What was the song that you played for me?
I don't even know. It was called like it was something full panic.
Sweet Dreams. No, the second one. Sweet Dreams.
Oh,
in
Dream
C
Suite in C major.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's not Panic Jazz. That's just a song I listened to.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. No, but yeah, he played me a couple songs and they're pretty good. So like, if you haven't had reason to check out Panic Jazz, I think everybody here should at least go take a listen because I found it super interesting.
It's like jazz, but like faster.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Jazz, usually jazz drums are very basic, like.
Well, I mean, there is variations. There is
Have you ever seen Whiplash?
Yeah, Whiplash. Yeah, Whiplash.
I'm thinking
that
of
was
Gene
good.
Krupa. That's
Dave Brubeck. They created Take 5 for Paul Moreno. Did you know that?
I have that on my Spotify.
Really?
My dad showed me that, and I listen to that all the time at work. I love that song.
I mean, it's amazing.
That's
and
beautiful.
you know, it was such an accident that they created this song because they needed something for Paul Moreno to have a solo. Their drummer to have a solo.
Right.
And so they're like, let's write a melody that will allow us, all of us, to leave and smoke a cigarette while Paul Moreno is drumming. You know, and that's why they call it Take 5, Take 5 minute break, while he's drumming, and that's how one of the greatest tracks in jazz music was born out of an accident. You know, you're right. That's just a great track.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of several Cab Calloway songs too that very fast.
I immediately stared thinking of Louis Prima as we're
Heidi.
Yes. So yeah, like there's a ton of fast jazz, but I understand what my boy is saying because when you think about jazz, you think about calm, you think about like slow, you think about easy.
No, jazz is intense.
No. Jazz can absolutely be intense, but like especially like modern like fusion jazz and things like that. That's. I agree with you, Julian. I think that your observations are valid.
And I think Coltrane created Pink Floyd because
Yeah.
if you listen to
Yeah,
Coltrane,
yeah. Now I think about it.
Sid Barrett was clearly influenced by Coltrane.
Right. So Andre, you're a musician. Had you heard of this not acid jazz, panic jazz?
Acid jazz.
Yeah, acid jazz is a completely different thing.
No, I had not. But yeah, I've been known to just like just some random music that may be a bit experimental.
Yeah.
Or just weird.
That was it.
So,
yeah, I just found it interesting. I thought I wanted to share. So, all right, let's actually get to the first question because it is a vitally important question. Our listener needs to know.
Yes.
What is the best brownie section? Edge or center? I'm going to start with
center.
No. You can't jump in front of Lauran. Lauran
That's all I have to
has
say.
been waiting
All I have to say.
patiently.
Center.
Go ahead, Lauran.
You're already wrong.
We gotta agree to disagree.
He's already wrong.
It is the edges, and it'll always fucking be the edges.
yeah.
So you get like the crispiness, and you
It
also
will
get like
always
the
be
Bringing me the
gooey
center.
fudginess of the actual brownie. But then you
I
also
would
get
love
the
to share a
crispiness, so
brownie
there's a
with you.
change in texture throughout it.
Awesome. I would love to share a
The
brownie with
corners
you.
are literally the best part of any
Take it
fucking
all.
brownie tray.
Take
I do
it
not
all.
care.
All right, no banging on the table. It picks up to the mics.
I
All right.
literally, when my mom used to do trivia with you guys here every single Wednesday, 95% of the time she would come home and there was a thing of brownies because I made them. I grew up making brownies by myself because I was bored and I liked cooking. I liked baking growing up. I made brownies all the freaking time.
Good.
So, no. Corners, edges.
Just bring
That's
the
it.
bring
I don't
the
have
bring the
brownies
center left
ever,
over.
So.
Yeah, but you're the husband. Like you got to do something
I would probably
special to
hate
get the
those
brownies. So yeah. So do you have an opinion?
He needs to do the dishes once in a
I
while
was
for
not
me to
gonna
do
say
brownies.
what it was, but yes. All right. So tell us.
Or
do you-
laundry.
Do you have a personal brownie preference?
Kind of. It's not really a shape. I like, what is it, brownie cookies. I love those. That's kind of the only really brownie that I those.
That's okay. It was not part of my question, but it's still interesting to know. So yeah.
I'm gonna go middle.
Okay, perfect. So this is perfect. You can eat the middle, you can eat the edges, and all is good.
It's more for me.
Yeah, you can edge.
The crispiness is the reason why brownie puffs are also like the best form of brownies.
What about you, Andrei?
I kind of like the edges.
Thank you.
Yeah. The center is, I appreciate it for sure. It's like soft. It's like the center of a cinnamon roll. But man, there's just something about the edge. Can't keep me away.
What are your thoughts, Parker? Have you given this question the due diligence and attention that it deserves?
You gotta think to answer that.
Right. Yeah, I also like the edge, and I don't like the center at all. It's too soft, I think. And the edge just... I love a great corner piece, I would much rather have like a corner last bite than like a soggy centerpiece last bite, whatever.
All right, so I was gonna not talk about my opinion, but you just raised the most important point. That last bite's got to have some texture to it. I 100% agree. All right, sorry.
Spitting.
Julian, this was actually a question that was offered up by
You're 4-2.
Julian.
Ooh.
I like the edges. Edge is very good because it's nice and like chewy when I make brownies.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I like to dunk my brownies in milk and like soak it, but it still stays like chewy.
And
it's
that
great.
was gonna be the transition point. Like, can you dunk the centerpiece
Like-
of a brownie?
Sometimes like if we have brownies
If they're
and like
overcooked.
there's like a lot of the middle left, but still some of the edge, I'll like still get the edge. I'll just get one long piece of edge. Just cause.
One long edge.
Yep.
My children are horrible because my daughter Izzy, she likes the center, and so she strategically, but with no strategy at all, just kind of gouges the brownie. So if you come and look at the brownie plate, it literally looks like a
The
mutated
center is
snowflake. Yeah, 7 little holes in the
She
middle.
used to like take the corner pieces, like no matter how far along it was. So she would get one corner, and then if nobody else had any, she would get a different corner the next time she had some. She would get all 4 corners.
But now there's just holes in the center. It's like she just grabs it with the palm of her hand and pulls it. Yeah, it's weird.
She
It's
uses
weird.
the dinosaur grabber.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Chris?
I see this as a false dichotomy. They are both equal,
You're not gonna go with the
and
brownie cookie answer, are you?
I'm going to say the same on the cookie question as well. Both are acceptable for dunking.
I so very much disagree with you, Mr. Ivanov.
First of all, False Dichotomy, great name for a rock band.
Band name called it.
Yeah. It is kind of, there's a certain level of polarity here because the heat, the physics of convection send most of the cannabis to the center of the brownie.
Oh, it's the other brownie.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Amen.
So, that's a little bit of a problem. Although I like the top of the brownie. I don't know about the edge, but the top is, and clearly the most disappointing part of the brownie is the bottom of the brownie.
Yes.
It's just a disappointment.
That's Evo's code way of saying he's a top but not a bottom. That's what that's right there.
And I love brownies because that's Donald Trump's worst, most hated food for Donald Trump because of its name.
Oh my god! Fuck, that took me a second.
Yeah, that fits. He is that petty.
All right. So the second part of this question, I'm just going to start with you, Evo, is what about the dunking? Like, do you have a preference when you are dunking, if it's a brownie or if it's a cookie? Do you care if it's a soft cookie or a hard cookie?
Hard cookies, I dunk in the trash can. Mostly.
Wait,
So cookies are delicious. I don't do milk though.
Oh, that's right.
I don't.
Yes.
I don't drink milk.
Have you tried water?
Dunking them in water.
Disgusting.
I would.
Fernando!
I might dunk them into Baileys or
There you go.
that-
Oh,
yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll
tried
try
root
that.
beer.
I haven't tried it yet, but now you gave me a good idea. Yeah, so after this podcast, I will hurry to the bar and see if they have cookies and Baileys. So, yeah. That's how great inventions.
Right.
There's yeah, there you go. We're gonna do that.
Right.
So yeah, that's where I'm at. I never done it.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped drinking milk after maybe the 10th month of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
that's
you've
how
not
it is.
gone back since?
No,
Wow.
no.
Wow. No, I just figured out I was lactose intolerant like a few years ago. So,
No.
Julian, what's your answer?
If it's a cookie, it depends on the kind of cookie. If it's a regular like chocolate chip, I'll get it a little bit wet in the milk. If it's like an Oreo, I'd make it to where like literally it's like crumbling in my hand because of how much milk has been absorbed.
Only
Like
probably-
literally, I will get Oreos. I'll put them in milk. I'll like push them down so they get like covered, and then I'll like do something else for like a minute, and then I'll like come back to them and
It's
then
the
eat
only
them
way
like
to
that.
make them edible.
And then with brownies, I just kind of like I do this kind of the same thing. I just pop them in there and wait for them to get like soggy.
Fernando, when like south of the equator, what's the protocol?
Well, I mean, it's not like really a thing. I think we kind of dip a little. Like, I mean, Nabisco was there, so Oreo was there. That was good. And there was some variations, like the Nabisco that's not like you be those same setup kind of cookie, but different feeling. That was great.
Hydrox?
Huh?
The Hydrox? The original Oreo?
Oh, you know what? I'm so curious about that, and I heard that it was created in Kansas. I don't know where is that, and
You have
I
to look for
find
them.
in the store?
They're really hard to find, but if you look for them,
Okay,
you
I'm
can find
curious
them.
about. I just heard that like it started printing my brain a few months ago, and I say I want to figure out that thing.
Yeah, they did a story
But-
on KCUR just recently.
Yes, and I think the vanilla waffle I think is great for dunking. Yeah, but it's not my thing. Like we never had milk usually at home, but just like going retrospect, I remember how much I love and. What did I like? But we don't like it. If I have a milk in my fridge, it's because I made or a cake or some bread. I do not buy milk.
Is he telling us all lies, Andrei?
No, I mean there's never really milk because I like milk, but I don't make my foods wet. I don't mix I won't put ice cream and cake in the same bowl. I just don't like it. I don't like the mixing of textures.
My man, I'm right
but
there
I
with
can dunk. Yeah, like
good,
basketball,
right?
I can dunk.
you. Right.
Yeah, if that was the question.
Do you have
Right.
a 9-foot vertical?
Yeah, about.
Oh, there's nothing better than vanilla ice cream mixed in with chocolate cake.
Oh, that's true.
I
Yeah,
love
well,
it.
I actually
like
I
it.
don't
think
eat cake
so.
unless it's mixed with ice cream.
I so disagree. I want a bowl for my cake, and I want a
Center
bowl for my
brownie.
ice cream.
You want bowls
Have
for
you ever
every
had
bit
an
of
ice
food
cream
that you
cake
eat?
though?
And I have a spoon and a fork, like
Yeah.
separate.
Have you
utensils.
never had like one of those cakes where it's like layer of cake and then ice cream and the cake and
The
then ice
very
cream?
first one that I had was the one that you requested for your birthday 2 or 3 years ago.
It was so good.
Outside of that, never had
I
it.
love those when it's vanilla and vanilla. Those taste so
Significantly
good.
better than regular cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanilla and vanilla is a deadly combo.
So nobody believed me. Like I told my wife that I wanted like a vanilla cake with vanilla icing. She's like, "That's what you want." I'm like, "It's the best cake." Like
Yeah.
I don't
hands
like
down.
icing.
Combo.
No, I'm with you
I'm
on
sorry,
that.
but German chocolate with coconut
Yeah.
frosting
Unless
is
it's
best
strawberry.
cake.
You're the devil. So no.
Strawberry
no.
icing I will eat out of a can. I do not care.
Mr. Anthony, you have been notoriously silent on this question. What do you think?
What's the question?
Well, there's two. It started with, do you prefer to dunk soft cookies or hard cookies? But now it's just gone into like, what's the best
Oh,
dessert?
I am an absolute menace, and I'm ready to fight. I will eat cookies and drink orange juice on the side.
Oh my goodness! No, you cannot come back.
I've seen him. I've seen him do it, and it's terrifying.
Yes, you are no longer allowed on the podcast because that's just wrong. If you had said whiskey or vodka, I could get behind you, but no, that's just not acceptable.
I only take my cake forms though in vodka.
Oh, okay,
Or in a rum variety.
excellent. Okay, I will
No
allow.
love for pie?
So I don't dunk pie. That's the issue. Like,
Can you dunk?
I do.
pie?
Dunk
I
a
put
pie?
ice. I've seen it done before, but I was thinking in terms of the desserts and
pie.
and I'm mixing with ice cream as well.
No.
With pizza.
Okay, so I take.
He knows how important pie is to me. He
I
knows.
take everything I said back because the one thing that is necessary when you have like the perfect piece of apple pie is a little dollop of ice cream right on top.
Oh yeah.
That is heaven.
Have you tried that with cherry pie?
Nah, that's evil.
You guys really like pie?
Pie is best.
I ate her
Pie
all the
is
time.
the only thing
You
that I've
need
seen
to
make
shut
Peter Griffin fly through the air while smelling.
Her Thanksgiving pecan pie
I
is
just
amazing.
don't like pie.
Y'all are dirty.
Okay.
The best is chocolate pecan
That's
pie.
why I said pie is very, very important to me because every single year I make pecan pie for Thanksgiving. It is the thing I do. It is my favorite thing. I use my great grandma's pie crust recipe, so I make everything from scratch. First year he was at Thanksgiving, I made it. We messed up the recipe a little bit. Not my fault. We didn't have both kind. We didn't have light and dark corn syrup. We only had one.
As you do, yeah.
But I always use both light and dark because it cuts the sweetness a little bit. And for some reason, the middle didn't set up properly. So it was like basically liquid inside. I actively cried for 15 minutes
It was a mess.
Me
too.
because
been
this
there.
was the one
I've
thing
been
I
there.
do.
Right.
It was like I actively cried, and he went over to me. It's like, babe, I don't even like pie, and it was so good. Like, please stop.
That's all right. Good man. All right. So, yes, I think the general consensus is you can dunk whatever the hell you want. It doesn't have to be.
Tate's
Edge is better
cookies,
than
Tate's
middle.
cookies, like the thin Tate's cookies and milk. Oh my god, so good.
Yeah.
Because the cookie is very crunchy. It gets.
It gets like the perfect amount. It gets soaked a little bit. He hates Tate's cookies.
That's why I like it.
quietly.
I like
the
crunchy
vanilla
cookies.
waffle because get
And
that crunchy.
snickerdoodles are the best cookie.
I don't like
How
soft cookies that much.
dare
I like
you,
my
sir.
cookies crunchy.
Oreos are good.
How
No.
dare you?
I like Matt's cookies.
I love snickerdoodles.
Table with a bunch of plebeians. All right, couple.
What about gingerbread cookies?
You know
Ew,
what?
what
I
the fuck?
love gingerbread cookies. I honestly do. They are not a
They are
bad cookie.
spiced cardboard.
Yes, but it's a good spice combination, so I'm all for it.
Depends on how it's made.
Right.
You get it.
Yeah, if you're making little gingerbread houses, it's kind of like cardboard. But if you're making cookies, my grandma did it right.
And then you can bite their heads off.
Right. Exactly. There you go.
I think my hatred of ginger just like is a thing for me. As a spice, I don't like it.
Sounds racist.
I don't like ginger as a
No
spice.
ginger ale.
No, I hate
Honey,
ginger
you
ale. This
can't
stuff
use
is
the
gross.
ER.
No, come on, that was funny. I like that. All
I
right.
was gonna make another one, but I just realized I couldn't.
Right. All right. All right. We're just gonna skip the Trump question because, quite honestly, the answer is just yes. Like, it's not gonna do anything. I'm sorry. I'll run through it real quick. There's this new commercial because, quite honestly, the commercial's kind of funny. There's a new commercial that's put out by the Republican voters against Trump, where a guy goes into a mall and tries to get a job, and every time he walks up to a manager, he's like, "Do you guys do background checks?" And when the manager says yes, he's like, "Well, I got like 88 potential felonies facing me right now," and the manager's like, "No, we can't. We won't be able to hire you." And he's like, "But some of them are like sexual assault," and they're like, definitely not. And then the narrator comes on at the end and it's like, if he's not good enough to work in a mall, he's not good enough to be president. And so the question was, like, do you think this ad will actually like cause some people to reconsider, or do you think it's just going to make the trolls more aggravated? Go ahead, Fernando.
Well, I mean, I think that's like it's a good like another addition. I mean, there is so many pieces to the equation. Like, for example, the Lincoln project. You know, I would say they entertain my life, but perhaps they open minds of some of potential voters for that weird like orange guy.
Right.
So I mean, it's I'm on it. I'm gonna follow. Like I didn't hear about that, but I'm gonna be following them tomorrow. At least I'm gonna laugh. It counts. It counts for sure. But there is so many other like variations. So I mean, at the end, my vote never meant a shit in Kansas because of the fantastic electoral fucking college.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It never meant anything.
Nope.
Doesn't matter if I vote to them, if I go liberal, so whatever. But I mean, that's good. It's a good constructive conversation.
Yeah, I think so. Had any of you guys heard? Because I just heard about it literally today.
About the commercial?
Yeah.
I heard about it a couple of days ago, and I think it's really good because I think you just have to keep up the agit prop because they're not going to let up throwing their stories out. So if you're wanting to win the election, you got to keep up throwing your side of the story out there.
Right.
Yeah.
I probably would have if I didn't have YouTube Premium, but I do. So
Gotcha.
I heard that he was facing like 1 or 2 felonies.
nope.
He's facing a lot of felonies.
Maybe shit ton of felonies.
Maybe 5 or 6. I don't know.
That's a good point.
I'm a little off with my numbers. Haven't looked too far into it.
Right.
Well, first of all, it's all relative because it depends on the mall. Like, he's definitely getting a
That's
job.
right,
To
man.
pick
The
a mall,
mall.
he'll definitely get hired.
He would get hired at Westridge for sure.
Oak Park Mall, maybe not. But
Oh, definitely not.
To pick a mall.
But to pick a mall, he's there. He's got the job. But yeah, the Lincoln Project, like you said, actually, I think they might have won the election for Biden.
They
The
made
Lincoln
a difference,
Project
I would say.
put in a lot of money, a lot of know-how. Steve Smith was very, very efficient. The entire project was like amazing. They were experts. They were election experts. They won the election for W versus Al Gore, and they were good at. And the next election versus John Kerry, they were the Swift boat people. They created Swift boat bullshit.
Right.
So they're sinister fucking characters, and they knew what to do to diminish Donald J. Trump, and they did a good job. They're still working hard. I think the Lincoln Project kind of fell apart. Steve Schmidt left, but they're working independently
Still there.
to damage him. So, we'll
So
see.
we have a couple of folks at the table that are young enough that they probably don't know what swift boating is. You want to explain it to them?
Yeah. So
Parker knows.
So George W. Bush, in 2004, was running against John Kerry, who was a war hero.
John Kerry was.
John Kerry was a war hero.
Served in
Had
Vietnam.
Purple Hearts, which means he was wounded in action in the Vietnam War, and George W. Bush had consultants, political consultants, and election experts that managed to turn this somehow against John Kerry, and George W., who was a draft dodger, was somehow ended up on top of the situation.
They basically said and keyed off the fact that after he came back from the war, he threw away his medals.
Yes,
in protest, and that was somehow to these other people, somehow offensive.
And because he served on a swift boat, in very, very dangerous environment in Vietnam and Cambodia, they found so-called witnesses from his platoon that said that he wasn't really wounded. He was kind of grazed or something by a boy, and then got a Purple Heart, not deservingly. And I was thinking, dude was there in an avalanche of bullets,
Right.
and when W was at home drinking in Texas.
No, he was cheerleading.
Cheerleading,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, it was
And-
a lot of...
Yeah,
It's
and
very
they
risky.
somehow turned these guys are so good that they managed to manipulate reality
Destroy him.
and history and destroy him with his biggest strength. So these are the same people that ran the Lincoln Project because they were petrified, frightened of Trump,
The orange guy.
the orange guy, and recognized the danger to democracy and to the American way of living, and decided to burn him, and they did. So now they're working again. I don't know if it's going to work. I like this commercial. It's a good one. But the best commercial really is using Trump's own words. Using footage
Yeah,
of
like
him
bring him more,
saying, I
right?
love Putin. I love Xi Jinping. I love...
Yeah.
I don't think it's working.
It's
I
not
don't
working,
I
yeah.
don't think it's working. I think that
What-
the issue is, like, Trump is such a ubiquitous presence in the media, just using his own words, especially without like a critical analysis of what he's doing, is just feeding the machine. That's actually why I like this commercial, because it takes Trump out of the equation and like puts somebody else in that same position and says, like, if this was anybody else on the planet, like, people would be running from him like in droves, but because it's the Cheeto, like, everybody's like, oh no, he's great, he's great. So that's, for me, that's why I'm intrigued by the commercial. But yeah, I still don't have any faith.
I think I agree with you in terms of keeping Trump's face out of and only talking to him implicitly is a good idea. But I think it's also a good idea to put that stuff out there when he speaks silly, when he whines about the conduct of the trial and stuff. Some of that needs to be out there because it is working. I mean, we just had the Pennsylvania primary, which was a closed primary. And Nikki Haley got 170,000 votes.
He got 15%.
Oh, shit.
And she wasn't even running.
And, and the presidential election will be won on margins. Right. Yes, Trump has a diehard devoted base that's about 70 million thereabouts. If he gets those, that's great. But he's losing lots of Republicans. He's losing shit tons of independents. And some of those are, I mean, maybe a lot of those won't vote, but I'm sure that a lot of them are going to vote for Biden just because Trump is everyone's really finally seeing what he's all about, especially now that he has to sit and be quiet in a trial.
It diminishes him. It diminishes him. It exposes him as the Wizard of Oz, as the guy. Everything that he is, all of his so-called business successes, all of his triumphs, including the color of his skin, his hair, everything's built on a mountain of deception and lies. And people hopefully will realize this come election time.
Yeah, the people who will really matter will see it, and they'll just, no, that's not what I want.
Let's hope so.
I hope so. All right, last question really quick. Is Amazon now officially better than Netflix? Or are we still a Netflix?
They have Invincible.
Crew?
I like Fallout on Amazon.
Right?
Fallout.
I use neither.
It was good.
Yeah, and it's a good video game.
Nah, between Fallout, Invincible, The Boys,
Generation V.
Boys, Generation V, like all of that.
Has Been Hotel.
Yeah, I got
I
two
haven't watched
words.
Has Been
That's
Hotel.
Has Been Hotel is so good. I've been a fan since the pilot on YouTube came out, and I've watched the spin-off series that still is on YouTube by Busy Pop. It's one of my favorite things ever. It is so good. I was so happy when they were finally like, oh, it releases in January. It's like, okay, we've been waiting for 2 years. Thank God.
Right.
Netflix has like 4 shows going for it. It has like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul.
And
No,
that's
those
only
are on
because those
AMC.
are on there. And
But it's all that Netflix has on it. That's like good anymore.
Netflix has got Sandman, which
And then,
I'm
like,
looking forward to.
yeah, and then,
watching
like,
the rest of that.
Netflix ruined
That's
Seven
it.
Deadly
Stranger
Sins
Things.
and Arrested Development, and I will never get over it for either of them.
Games.
That's it.
Squid Game.
Games. That's Netflix.
And I think Netflix started putting mobile games on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Play games
That's
on
really
it.
weird.
It's weird.
So if
That'll be
there
my main
was
source of
like a
entertainment.
content scale, a scale that measures quality of content, and on Prime, Amazon Prime Video, you have Boys, Generation V, Fallout, Wonderful Miss Maisie, whatever.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Marvelous Mrs.
Yes,
Maisel.
that show is so good.
All of those shows, you have to create double those shows to put on this scale to match the majesty of Tiger King. Tiger King on Netflix.
You can't beat that.
and so still Netflix still holds a lead because of one single glorious show called simply Tiger King.
Way more.
Sorry, the fact that they have Has Been is always going to trump everything for me because
Netflix
the song
still
Addict
beating.
was literally my comfort song during quarantine.
There's way more. Like, what was the?
I thought the new live action Avatar. on,
Making of
Netflix.
a
No,
Murder.
that sucked.
No, they have amazing shows.
Yes,
Netflix,
it did.
we have to
It
admit,
wasn't
they,
as good as the animation for sure. It was too
They-
short, but
They have better
need to just
original
stop trying.
production,
Yes.
but Prime is catching up, and the other ones, HBO, frankly, is still doing amazing things.
Last of Us is great.
Last of Us was
It's been a
amazing.
while.
I loved Raised by Wolves.
Raised
Yes.
by Wolves is maybe.
And that's
I didn't say that. I said they should
Sci-fi
stop with
ever.
Avatar.
But it was actually the Max
Both
when they were
versions.
Yeah.
fusion.
Yeah.
Yes,
Both series,
that was
just
the
stop.
best shows ever.
I love that show.
All right,
I don't like
give
James
Anthony
Cameron,
a
so no.
shot, and then we'll let Julian talk. Go ahead.
Honestly, I think HBO takes it because they have one of the best shows known to mankind called The Sopranos, which is an
All except for that last
If you're gonna
episode,
go the
right? I'll
route,
go with
just
that.
go the
Oh
wire.
no, the last episode of Sopranos is
The
bullshit.
Wire was great.
Yeah, I'll Game
Julian.
of Thrones.
Julie.
Like, I feel like all of Netflix's like good shows it had on it are either like finished or like just not that good anymore compared to what we have. You know what I mean? Or like
Some of
there's-
them
or, like,
live in perpetuity,
or,
like
there's-
Tiger King.
Or there's no hype behind them anymore. Like Wednesday, that was pretty popular. It has like no hype anymore
Because there hasn't been a season 2 yet.
But
nothing. but like Amazon has stuff that has like hella hype behind it, like Invincible.
Yeah. Okay.
But
All right.
Netflix did all the like
mean
the
that
Last
one guy
Dance
from
and stuff
Fortnite?
like that. Those are all pretty good. All the like
Yeah.
documentary
Genius.
series.
That was great.
Kanye West documentary.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Okay, so
And
did
the
you watch
evil-
Genius? Yeah, that like it starts off and it's just kind of like, where's this going? But like by the time he gets to be like Kanye,
A genius.
it's like that is between that and the mushroom thing that Evo and I watched.
Oh, my gosh.
Netflix definitely
Amazing
has
fungi.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah, here
yeah.
we go.
Yeah, go ahead,
I
Lauren.
think the only thing on Netflix that I'm like genuinely like, oh my god, I want to watch it. Besides Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim's pretty good, and that's only because they got the original cast from the movie, and also they kept the like full animation style of the original comics, which apparently most people don't even know is a thing. I read the entire comic
Okay,
series.
no. We got to get to your actual answer.
Okay, sorry, but
That's okay. I got an ADHD brain too.
sorry,
So,
that, it just bugs me. Would be Black Mirror.
Black Mirror was
Because
really,
Black
really
Mirror,
good. Yeah.
Netflix still has Black Mirror, and I've been waiting for them to put out new episodes for that, and they just haven't. But again, they also ruined they ruined one of my favorite animes and one of my favorite TV shows.
But Amazon ruined Wheel of Time and Lord of the Rings, right? The new Lord of the Rings thing.
Yeah, the new
They
Lord of
were
the Rings
not
is
good.
Not good.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Wheel of Time. I enjoyed the show as I was watching it, but I didn't read any of the books.
Yeah, I didn't read any of the books. Nana did. She said it was actually pretty good, but she likes crappy TV. So
HBO still is the edgiest, I think. Game of Thrones was freaking ridiculous. Yeah. Anthony?
HBO also does have all of the extended editions of every Lord of the Rings, and my absolute favorite cartoon I watched growing up, Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack is the shit. Like, if there was one thing that would like push me, if they had like Kubo and the two strings all the time at the same time, then I might have to side with you.
Speaking of samurai, fucking Hulu did Shogun.
Yes,
I
I
watched
just
it.
started
I
watching
binged
it.
it.
Yes.
Yes.
He was good.
Good?
I didn't like the guy as much as Richard Chamberlain.
Yeah, I was gonna say I missed.
He was kind of stiff. The main actor here, Richard Chamberlain, was amazing.
Netflix has Blue Eyed Samurai.
Blue
I
Eyed
haven't
Samurai.
seen this.
Oh,
That
that's
one's
excellent.
so
good
good.
one.
That is so good.
Blue Eyed
Oh.
Samurai is fantastic.
Have you watched Scissor 7?
Yes,
I like that one.
that was a good one too.
Have you guys seen One Piece?
One Piece.
Oh God,
Every episode, all like
has.
1,000, 100 of them.
you're fucking Christ.
No.
Yeah, I thought you
Someone
meant the live action version.
I can't get behind One Piece.
I can't either.
Someone called Grey's Anatomy white women's One Piece, and I couldn't
Nice.
stop laughing at it.
Yeah.
I can get behind
Yeah,
that.
this episode of our podcast will be on Netflix.
If you're intimidated by One Piece, you need to do Naruto.
Yes.
I believe it or
Don't
not.
get him started.
No, believe it or not, I have a Itachi wallet, but I watched from Naruto to Shippuden from the time I enlisted to the time I went to boot camp. I watched I was watching it while I was working out, and I was watching it like when I was trying to go to sleep.
It's good. It's good stuff, man. All right, we're gonna wrap up. We are nearing the 1 hour mark, and I actually thought we'd only do this for like half an hour. So I'm gonna thank everybody individually. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Parker. Thank you, Andrei. Thank you, Ivo. Thank you, Lauran. Thank
Hi.
you, Anthony. I am Lou. I have been your host, and this has been another Wednesday Night Undressed.
Bye.
Bye.